we are talking here about something about disruptive. So I said, now what can that be? Yeah, but we'll see. So I wanted to share with all of you here the fact that I started from a different environment to go to another environment altogether, from a public university, a faculty of a public university, and now we are on our own. We are a university of our own. We are only 2 years old, but we are struggling. Yes, struggling is the right answer. Why? Because when we started, not many of my colleagues, former colleagues, believed that you would get this far. You know, it was like I had to just take whoever who believed in me and brought them along. Well, we are 2 years old now, not too bad. And we are the only accredited business school as a postgraduate business school in the country by AACSB. So we thought, not too bad. Anyway, a little bit more. Let's set the context first before I move on, because I think it's very important for me to share where I'm coming from. Now, I'm going to ask this question. Do you all accept that the reality that culture influences human thought and behavior? I do. I do. So that's the reason why I believe that Asia has a role to play. Next question. Do we accept the reality of blind spots? Yes. Does it mean that what we cannot see is not there? No. Because blind spots means we just can't see. But they're there. Now, with that as my first introduction, I'm going to share this. Let's learn a little bit from what the car manufacturers are doing. They keep on innovating. But what was the premise which keeps them going? Safety. They're worried about our safety. They want to give more, passenger safety. So look at that. The side view mirror. Oh, that's the rear view mirror, just to check whether you're all sleeping or not. Anyway, okay. Now, the rear view mirror, no, the side view mirror now is almost similar to the rear view mirror. It's not out there. This is among the latest images I'm able to bring down from the website. Now, what does it mean? It means that they're really concerned to give a different perspective, to keep on helping, to keep on ensuring that their customers get value and at the same time to make sure that safety is there. Now, what about us business school? What exactly is keeping us going? What should be driving us? Just to provide resources for the market? Is that it? Well, I'm not going to answer. Let's move on. Taking stock of today's business schools, we were very excited when we saw this, actually. So when I first saw this, I immediately blasted this to everybody, you know, the faculty at Putra Business School. This was this year when Dean Noria, is that how you pronounce it? I hope I don't get it wrong. When he mentioned about the golden age of business education is over in the States, and now it's coming over to Asia. So how do we keep the MBA program relevant? Now, we were quite happy, or very happy in fact, because when we started Putra Business School, we questioned all this actually, and we said, let's be relevant. Of course, we're talking here about relevant as against rigor, so we said, no, it need not be so. Let's talk about relevant and rigor being there as well. Why can't we do that? So Putra Business School started thinking of going back to basics. Let's ask ourselves. Now we talk about, do we want just one mainstream paradigm of thinking and bringing it over to Putra Business School as just one from Harvard, North American model, and then we try to contextualize within our setting? Or, like what Dr. Z is doing here. So I'm very happy to hear, as an opening speech, welcoming, learning about how far SMU have gone with cases and how much SMU had done in bringing up the Asian characteristics of a business. Now, let's look at this. You know, I was trying to figure out, now, what analogy can I give to everyone here in this classroom? Well, now, it's a classroom. Now, let's talk about this. Now, we question whether we should be writing a conventional story in Asia, which I questioned earlier on, or now we're talking about writing a new, because it's not written yet, an Asian story about Asia to share with the world. Now, depending on which side you're looking at the slide, the left or the right, one is oil painting and one is watercolor. So they both are fruits, but you know that they are actually drawn or painted upon different canvas. We know that. Now, if you want to draw an oil painting, you need the oil painting canvas. Now, my analogy is this. If you're coming from a Western perspective, already well-established North American, take one of it. Yeah? So it's been painted on one canvas. Now, if now we're talking about bringing Asian values, Asian characteristics, can we just paint on the same canvas? We can't. So here we are talking about two different sets of paintings requiring two different sets of canvas. Now, we need to accept that first. If you don't, please read this. It'll save me from having to share what it's all about. I'm advertising for the author. Now, he talks about geography of thought. So it's not just about geography as in location, physical, but here we're talking about the thought. Yeah? So we need to recognize this first. So at Putra Business School, it is well entrenched. All of us recognize this. Now, what do we do next? Are we now going to go out and say, hey, North American, Western, classical versus us? No, we said we understand first. Understand what both are about. Then we see whether we can now learn from each other. So that is our model. That to us is accreditation, coming in understanding that when we talk about accreditation, when we talk about moving forward as putting a brand, a label to say that you have quality, we must bring that in mind, understanding the characteristics. Now, writing the conventional story in Asia, if we do that, it's imposing one worldview. We don't want that. We say, let's recognize all. Now, the culture of Asian business. We talk about state-owned enterprises. We have government-linked enterprises, family-owned, going up to be corporations. We don't come from joint stock company culture. That's Asia. Whereas if we start from British East India Company, Dutch East India Company, it's all about corporate government. So they're very into corporate governance. Now, we start questioning, what about us in Asia? What do we have to offer? In Asia, it's all about we. We're born, default state is we. So in the I, there's always the we. I'm sure we all agree. We have generations, 3 generations, staying in one household is nothing. It's common. I have my mom staying with me too, and my children. So they see all 3. My children are all working. They're still staying with me. Yeah, but that's our culture. Yeah? So then when we talk about Asian business, all this come in because when I'm a director of an organization, I start thinking of the next generation as well when I make decisions. So it's part and parcel of us. Now, these are the kind of things we are talking about sharing with the West, with the established model coming from North America or others. I mean, we are talking here about that paradigm. Pardon me, I just want to use that label as North American. It's not really anti-North America or anything like that. Well, we do have one faculty who's from North America. So firstly, we said to him, Bill, please don't feel anything about this, Don't take to sensitivity this. And now he said, oh no, it's all right, Arfah, I'm Malaysian, American Malaysian. Anyway, okay, moving on. So we got excited again when we saw this. When Forbes in 2011 wrote that, the dumbest idea in the world, maximizing shareholder value? We said, finally, somebody is saying it from the West. You know, because we've been saying this, let's look at things differently. Now, a lot in Asia, in the East, is all about internal unwritten governance within ourselves. Why I put that caricature here is actually to share. I'm sure Eileen remember when we were, last month, we were in the States, when we had the Dean's meeting, the conference, this conference, when Professor Chapman mentioned about washing hands. After going to washrooms, they did the study, and they said what they did was very exciting. They wanted to see actually whether we, you know, just washing hands, which is very basic, whether we are going to be influenced by the presence of someone there. So they put a camera, one, the experimental setup. The other one, someone was just there. You know, you don't really know the person, doesn't even say hello, just doing some other work, you know, washing or cleaning or something like that. So what did they observe? Now, in the case where there was someone there, 90% of those observed actually washed their hands. How, okay, what do you think would be the percentage of the other one? When there's nobody, only camera, and they didn't know there was a hidden camera. Take a guess, come on. 40%. Anything else? 6. Okay, 1/6. 1/6. No, look, I'm not saying anything, please. I'm just sharing. Eileen was there, she heard it. Eileen heard it. So we went, oh dear. You know, so what does that say? A lot, actually, about how we try to behave in the manner we think, you know, others are expecting us to behave. Yes. So what do we do now? So at business schools, all this must be, well, I can't say to be taught, but we have to nurture back all this, because it's happening. This is a reality of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Colleagues, please, yeah? This is a reality of the world. Again, that's why I started my slide with the blind spot. Sometimes we tend to deny, yeah, reality. Okay. Now, we have different priorities. Yes, some business schools have different priorities. So we must understand, we must know our priorities. So now it's time for us to decide. Accreditation, which way? Ranking, ratings, which way do we do? Which way do we go? Well, you decide for yourself. That's what life is all about. Business school is about making decisions. Right? At Putra Business School, well, SMU took time to share about what you're doing. Putra Business School, to be fair to my school for paying the fare for me to come here, I need to do a little bit of advertisement, but not too much, don't worry. So what did we do? We questioned, so I said, okay, our representation of reality. Now, I remember last week, everybody emailed, you know, WhatsApp, this everywhere. It went viral with this and was asking me, what color was it? So, okay, what color did I see? So I said to them, okay, when I first got it, you know, I said, oh, blue and black. I had no problem. Then I went to my other, well, equal half, not better half. And I asked him, what color is this? He said, well, blue and black, what's the problem? Oh dear, I said, okay. Now, the children, from 31 to 14, blue and black. I was wondering how people could see white and gold. I couldn't see that at all. But then a friend of mine sent and said, oh, I see white and gold. So the moment my friend said that, I said, what shall we do now? That's reality. So we say, okay, for Putra Business School, this is all real. People can see things differently. Same thing. So let's go to the source. We say, let's not allow the veil or filtering. You know, we wanted to go straight. So we're realizing this. We said, let's question the assumptions. we started going back into the drawing board, and we talked about questioning the assumptions of the business school, business curriculum and all. And we said, okay, let's shift our paradigm. It's always about either or. Yeah? You choose, you give a decision, choose this or that, this or that. The world is not like that. You don't need to be that, because in the East especially, yin and yang, it's not that you choose to be either this or that. You're talking about moving along, balancing. You're talking about harmonizing. So we talk about both ends. Paradox is a reality. It happens every day. You have to make a decision, and when you do this, this happens. Yeah? So we're not talking about having to split and say you either have this or not. Now, what do? We question again. What's the world out there? It's volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. This is what the Army, the United States Army College, has been talking about. So we say, why is it we keep on talking to everyone, remove uncertainty? We can't remove uncertainty. We have to live with uncertainty. It's how you do it now. So we say in Asia, we're very good with that. Very good with that. So let's take that to the world. Now, then we said, how can we share with the world? We went back into quantum physics. We were very fortunate. Actually, we have a nuclear physicist professor with us. Yeah? And he's also a lawyer. So he got all this experience. He's actually a corporate strategist as well in one of the top Malaysian companies before that. So he said, look, let's go back to quantum physics and understand the principles. 2 minutes. This is how it happened. We were talking about science. He came in. I was dean still of the other school at that time. So I was talking about, I said, we need to be certain. We need to talk about doing things in a scientific manner, objective. Then he said, excuse me, Dean, can you repeat that? I said, yeah, science is about objectivity. He said, who said that? I said, well, all our books. He said, what books? I said, research methodology books. He said, science is about objectivity. She said, who wrote those books? Social scientists or scientists? Oh dear. So anyway, he said, it's very strange with social scientists. When they want to know science, they don't ask scientists. So that was the start. Then we start learning. Now, purpose of science is to put into a map the terrain out there, yeah, to explain. So the question is, which science? The science which says universe is a collection of objects following deterministic clockwork mechanism, which is Newtonian, classical, or the science which says universe is a network of interconnected relationship. Now this is quantum physics. So we say, oh dear, we are 100 years behind time. Quantum physics came in 1900. So immediately we say, we have something to offer. Let's go out. So we, learning about Asia, now to share about how Western paradigm can come in. The window for Western thinking to come into Asian thinking is through quantum physics. That's to us the way. The entangled atom story, that's your homework for this evening. Okay. All right. Now, Eastern philosophy, Western processes, why not? Yeah? So that's what we are doing now. Eastern philosophy of human governance, we call it, and all the processes we learn through AACSB, wonderful lessons we have, learning how to move forward, strategies and all. So we believe that, yes, there's value to accreditation, but it all depends on how you want to do it. This is my last slide. So what we say, accreditation, yes. Poor student, if we are coming in with just one way of doing things, and we say, let's look at our purpose, shouldn't it be mission-driven? We're very excited, we're keen. Why? Because AACSB, when first came to us, when we thought, we've been discussing a lot about that, it's all about mission-driven. Yes, how different are you? What's your differentiating factor? All those. So we love it, and we said that was an opportunity for us also to tell other Malaysians that you can take this route and yet you have something to offer. Now, we question, to us, human is not resource. We say human shouldn't be resource. we are trustees of resources. Bring back the human in us. And we say, yes, one size cannot fit all. Because if it does, that's what we are trying to do. And who bears it? The student, not just the student, the nation, future leaders, and the whole community. With that, I thank you all so much for your time.